Well, hello everyone. This is Caperoni, and today I guess is kind of a sad day because it is the last conference call that I will ever be making pertaining to DinarAlert. Today is Monday, August 28th, 2023, and I decided to record a last conference call for all those who just want a quick update on what's going on and how to keep in touch. And I hope everyone's doing well. This is kind of, as I mentioned, a sad day after many years posting information, facts, truth at DinarAlert. Now this is the finale. So we believe again that DinarAlert was the most advanced Iraqi dinar intel website on the net. And of course, those that may listen to this call, the website for the remaining days that it exists was located at DinarAlert.webs.com. You could always just go there by typing in Google DinarAlert or www.dinaralert.webs.com. And I just want to just kind of briefly talk about the concept. It was simple. Bob, many years ago, wanted to create a great research site for the Iraqi dinar investor without false influence from advertisers or dinar dealers. And I think he did a great job over the years, of course, until he passed away, and then his son Brandon took over. But unfortunately, due to some situations here which can be read about on the website is ceasing to exist here just in another week or so. So it was always important to us that integrity at DinarAlert was maintained, and whether you simply were reading a post from a volunteer researcher or browsing through the forums, getting quality information without false rumors or hype was imperative, and knowing the motives or incentive of the website was also just as important. At DinarAlert, we avoided all of these issues by not having any contractual advertisers or dinar dealer influence. So if you want to follow me in the future, I highly recommend Twitter, which is also known as X now. So you can find me. I am Caperoni, and that's K-A-P-E-R-O-N-I, and you can just search at Caperoni. Then follow me on Twitter. I tweet periodically, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly. But anything that's important, I will post it on Twitter. And so I will reiterate this again at the end of the call, but I recommend anybody who wants to continue to know what's going on pertaining to the Iraqi dinar investment to follow me in some capacity on Twitter. I just want to take this time to tell all the members how much I appreciate over the years your support at DinarAlert, and again, moderators, myself, T-Girl, Norsti, Tammy44, and of course, Administrator Brandon and his dad, Bob, who started the website but had obviously since passed. I just want to say once again how much we appreciated all of everyone's participation on the website over those years, and how much you meant to the DinarAlert community. Again, the website, if anybody wants to go to it for any last downloads of information, I recommend going there, whether it is downloading some documents or if you're a member of the forums to download any articles. www.dinaralert.webs.com, or simply Google DinarAlert. Again, the site should be up for another 4 to 5 days, I would guess. Hopefully, anybody that wants to get some information, you'll be able to download it and print it for your own personal reference. Again, I'll just mention to people who I was. I was, just like you, many, many years ago, a dinar investor. I quickly realized that a lot of the information being posted about Iraq and the investment was nonsense, and so I kind of became a student of this investment some 15 to 18 years ago. I studied the Middle East, Iraqi politics, the Iraqi economy, and of course their banking system. And I've written hundreds of research posts and chats over those years since then to help educate and inform even the most novice investor who wants to learn the truth and facts. And again, I came over to DinarAlert with contacts and friends, an Arabic translator, and we always did what we thought was best, not to mislead or create any hype. And of course, Enorsti joined us a few years back, and he as well utilized his skills to help decipher Iraq's progress and help educate all of us. The team at DinarAlert, along with the moderators that followed, educated, and dissected the progress, we were, in essence, detectives, putting the pieces of the puzzle together and sharing with all of you. Again, a lot of this information is in the Caperoni and Friends section, or just in the forums in general. And I say it often that you really can become a student of your investment if you take the time to read that information. And again, there's a limited amount of time. If you have desires, you can go into the forums or the research library and download anything that you wish to take with you. And I encourage that. DinarAlert, for close to 12, 13, 14 years, was probably the #1 fact-based research site pertaining to the dinar community, and I think it's something that's going to be missed because most of the information out there that's being put out is just nonsense and very misleading, and in essence just a lie. And the nice thing about DinarAlert over the years was all of the factual information that was posted for our own personal research. I'm going to kind of go into a quick update. A lot of this, or some of this, reiterates what we talked about on the last conference call, but I just wanted to kind of tell people once again that we were researching how monetary policy works and how it interacts with a transitional economy such as Iraq. We found out very quickly, many years ago, that there would never be an RV of the Iraqi dinar, or the term several gurus like to use, reinstatement. Those are just made-up terms and will not happen. And so if this is something new to you to hear, it's probably best that you learn it now, because there will be no single RV or overnight RV or reinstatement of the Iraqi dinar. Iraq is not a lottery ticket. The dinar is not a lottery ticket. Iraq is, in essence, rebuilding their entire country, their banking system, their economy, And if the dinar is ever going to go up in value, it will go up gradually as a result of the success and growth of their own economy over time. And so I know the gurus like to talk about an RV or a revaluation. They like to talk about call centers, back screens, boots on the ground information, constantly talking about a rate change. I assure you that's all made up nonsense, because they have no clue how monetary policy works, what is the process for reconstruction in Iraq, or the process of the central bank, and how it all relates. Again, there is no overnight RV, and probably the main reason why that could never happen is because the money supply in Iraq is too significant. I think there's close to 90 trillion dinar in circulation, which makes it impossible for there to be such an event. DinarAlert has always believed that dinar can rise in value significantly, but it's not going to happen overnight. And if that dinar is going to rise, it will rise gradually as a result, as I said, from the success and growth of Iraq's own economy, as a result of the growth of the private sector, investment in their own economy, and, of course, an increase in their GDP. In order for that to work, Iraq needs to make the dinar their main currency in Iraq. They need to continue to transition to the digital dinar. They need to create their POS electronic systems and electronic banking. And, of course, implement their new securities law that they talked about, which ultimately can end the auctions in Iraq, the currency auctions, and they can begin to float the dinar and allow it to gradually rise as a result of the principles of supply and demand. The transition to IMF Article 8 also needs to occur, but Iraq needs to provide a professional banking environment equal to other central banks around the world first, which will then allow the flow of capital in and out of Iraq. I've stated this many times. Monetary policy is like any other technical occupation. It's like when you see a doctor. No doctor is going to give a patient a random drug in hopes that it cures the patient. A doctor performs tests, etc., to diagnose the problem before administering any treatment. And this is very similar to how the Central Bank of Iraq works. They follow strict rules, processes, as well as processes and rules within the IMF. They use this information to design a monetary policy that will combat the effects of a growing economy and inflation. As a result, and these are proven strategies and techniques used by other central banks as well around the world. Nothing is random in Iraq. Nothing is arbitrary. And that is what we are waiting to occur. We've been waiting a long time, of course, for Iraq to begin to make progress, creating a market economy and a private sector. And, of course, the new Prime Minister, al-Sudani, has been working tirelessly over the last several months to create the conditions to diversify their economy, to pass a budget for 3 years that would give Iraq the opportunity then to diversify away from oil and create a strategy of openness to the world. And those who have followed us over the years understand Iraq still has a ways to go. But the passing of the budget, that tripartite budget that they talked about just a few months ago, was significant. And now Iraq can begin the next phase of passing laws to encourage investment in Iraq, and as a result, activating the banking sector and fully modernize the banking sector with the help of the central bank. We believe all of this is within the tripartite budget time frame, including opening of the new central bank building that's under construction in Baghdad. And to be honest, over the last few months, we have seen this start to begin in Iraq in various articles. But again, passing laws through Parliament remains the key component to all of this succeeding and getting investors to invest in Iraq. But with many countries now planning to help in reconstruction and participate, we hope Iraq begins to pass these needed economic laws. There are references over the last several years that there are over 100 stalled laws. So Iraq has a lot of work to do to pass these laws. They won't get done overnight, and only time will tell. But this is the main issue in keeping Iraq from diversifying and beginning to prosper. As well, a month or so ago, the Securities Commission stated their plans to get a long-awaited new securities law passed. This law will open the door for foreign private sector investment and many companies coming on board to get involved in the Iraqi stock exchange. This, of course, has a direct impact on the dinar. And again, these are all just words on paper. Until Iraqi parliament passes these laws, it's all just talk. So again, Iraq has put themselves in a good position here, but they need to start acting on this activity. There was an article in the last conference call we talked about where they stated Iraq would have a qualitative leap in performance by 2025. Again, that falls in line with this tripartite budget where they have all of this slated to occur. In fact, that article stated such, and I will just again reference that shortly here. They stated in the article, a qualitative leap awaits the performance of the central bank by the year 2025 with the move to the new building, which was designed to be a new breakthrough in the performance of the Iraqi financial sector as it works to take into account technical developments taking place in the global financial sector, and the design will lead to the raising of levels of performance, which necessitates the use of advanced systems, etc. So again, this article was discussed on the last conference call, and if you want to go over any of that, I recommend listening to the previous conference call that we did just a month or so ago. We also talked about J.P. Morgan, and I want to talk a little bit about J.P. Morgan because I believe J.P. Morgan is going to be a key player here over the next few years in Iraq, and I think us as individuals may end up somehow being involved with the company J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan has a track record of previously handling processes of financial transfers for Iraq via their SWIFT platform to facilitate payments from the Iraqi banking system and with the aim of financing private sector imports directly. J.P. Morgan believes that they will create the conditions for Iraq to significantly move forward in Iraq regarding the Central Bank of Iraq and the banking sector in Iraq, whether it's in international standards, combating money laundering, or terrorist financing. The strengthening of these relationships with the central banks, with the central bank and other central banks around the world helps Iraq deal with these issues and trades. We believe, again, over the next several months, J.P. Morgan in Iraq will be involved in Iraq's banking system to help Iraq raise their level of banking with the world and provide global banking preference. I think it's also important for Iraq to transition to Article 8 because with the help of such a large company like that, I don't think Iraq will continue to drag their feet. I think they will make those changes when the conditions are met. And J.P. Morgan will be right there with them. And they'll raise their level of banking preference within the world and provide a global banking presence and a supportive element for attracting investment capital in preparation for filling the banking arena in Iraq. Again, investment is what this is all about. The country largely requires a wide investment effort. They need to diversify. That will improve their security situation. It will provide an appropriate environment for the influx of foreign capital into Iraq that ultimately is what we are waiting for. And I have said many times the dinar cannot go up in value until Iraq diversifies and creates significant economic growth. The current conditions in Iraq will continue to keep the dinar weak. And this directive that they have, where they need to diversify their economy, is a prerequisite to the dinar ever succeeding. So until they pass the laws, until they create these conditions, there will be no change. But again, we have this window now over the next 3 years, and with the construction of the new central bank building and all of the plans to incorporate them into the global financial system, I think that we have a window here of the next 3 years. The goal here is still for Iraq to create an internal economy, to create agriculture products for its own citizens, diversify their economy away from a 90% or so reliance on oil, and to create growth in Iraq, which will put pressure on the banking system. The CBI needs to free itself and move to IMF Article 8, but in order for that to occur, they need to meet IMF compliance before they can accept it, Article 8. And part of that compliance is maintaining the exchange rate in Iraq within 20%. We've talked about that many times. Iraq has had trouble doing this until they figure that out, how to make a stable exchange rate within country. I don't see them accepting the obligations of Article 8 until that occurs. Remember, the IMF told them that such a move towards acceptance of the obligations under Article 8 of the IMF's Articles of Agreement, it'll send a positive message to the investment community that Iraq is committed to maintain an exchange system that is free of MCPs and restrictions for current international transactions, and thus facilitate creation of a favorable business climate. So again, Iraq needs to do their part, and once they do and make a stable banking system, a dinar that the value doesn't fluctuate daily all over the place and is within 20% or 2%, I'm sorry. I don't know why I said 20%. It has to be a 2%, no, more or less 2% fluctuation. And again, the current exchange rate in Iraq needs to be stable and within 2%, not 20%. That's my fault. I'm sorry, folks. But we've seen it through the daily auctions in Iraq that it has fluctuated quite a bit. And until they can find a way to stabilize that, I don't see any changes in the banking system occurring. The government needs to implement reforms to strengthen anti-money laundering and combat the financing of terrorism. J.P. Morgan's going to help them with that. This will contribute to improve the integration into the domestic financial system and into the global economy. We know that Iraq still has a plan to float the dinar, even though these idiot gurus make up all these other stories. That is how currencies rise in value. They don't randomly just go up. They gradually go up based on supply and demand and by the success and growth of their GDP. So it will be a process over time. It won't be overnight. When they build this economy, it will increase Iraq's GDP and it'll put people to work and will take citizens out of poverty, and that is what we need to see occur. This is the only way the dinar value can grow and rise. It has to be done properly as a result of the success of Iraq's own economic growth, not some random act. So I guess, maybe people want to know what I'm really talking about when I'm talking about floating. Floating the national currency, it is intended to leave the national currency in order to determine its price in a free market according to the forces of supply and demand. So that is what we are looking for, but that cannot occur under the current conditions in Iraq. Iraq needs to make changes. And at this time last year, they were calling for the activation of the private sector. A year later, here we're still waiting for them to activate this economy. But now they passed this 3-year tripartite budget, giving them the authorization to begin this process. And this all coincides with the economic plan for the next 3 years, including the central bank and banking system. So I hope each and every one of you finds success in this investment. And again, I just want to reiterate, it will take time. It may be another 1 to 5 years. I certainly hope not, but I believe that things could happen quickly here over the next 36 to 48 months. But it all depends on Iraq and if they do what they need to do to encourage their diversification of their economy, which really starts with Parliament passing laws. I've told a few of you that I may start a blog to provide future support for you investors who want support in this investment. I can't promise that I'm going to do that, but as of now, I have not made any plans to do so, but who knows, maybe down the road, 6 months from now, I will create a blog. But in order for you to be aware of it, or if you want to stay up to date on what my activities are, I remind all of you, you can follow me on Twitter, known as X now. And again, the way to do that is @Caperoni, Kaperoni. And I tweet sometimes daily, sometimes weekly, sometimes not for a few weeks. But I will definitely tell people if I do create a blog. If you follow me on Twitter, you will find out. Well, that wraps it up for this last conference call from DinarAlert. So I just wanted to kind of give everybody that little update. Again, there is a future here that appears to be developing. Luckily for Iraq, that maybe we'll see some success here in the near future. And of course, with that success will be the opportunity for Iraq to transition their banking system and grow their economy and hopefully the dinar. So as always, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been a supporter of DinarAlert over the years, and stick to the truth and facts. And I hope you all have a great day. And take care, everyone.